It's a bumper day for big M&A here in the U.S., but a lackluster growth outlook for Europe, and markets are caught in between. This is your MacDesk Flow Report for Thursday, February 14th, 2013. I'm Rebecca Darst from the Market Access Center, bringing you the latest read on global markets as we do every Thursday from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. We are down about 18 points in the Dow right now, with the NASDAQ and S&P trading just a hair above the flat line. Let's take a look back at the overnight action. Remember, China and Hong Kong have been closed all week long in observance of the new year. Japan's Nikkei index closed slightly higher despite an unexpected contraction in Q4 GDP. This was the third miss in a row for Japan, but they mostly reflect economic activity before Prime Minister Shinzo Abe took office, not to mention strengthening the case for further stimulus. Europe was the real kicker this morning, with national indices broadly lower after a string of Q4 GDP misses. Germany, France, Italy, Greece, and Portugal all came short, with the composite Eurozone GDP read also falling behind market expectations, down 0.6% in the fourth quarter of 2012. This was the worst read since the first quarter of 2009. We've also seen dramatic weakness in the euro against both the US dollar and the yen. Here in the US, some of the early negative carryover from Europe was offset by a couple of major M&A announcements. Berkshire Hathaway and 3G Capital announced plans to team up to buy food maker Heinz for $72.50 per share. That's a $12 premium to yesterday's closing price and about $23 billion all told. We also had confirmation of a deal that's been in the works for a while. US Airways tie up with AMR Corp to create the world's largest airline. Weekly jobless claims came in a little better than the market was expecting, with 341,000 new claims last week compared to a consensus expectation of 365. A couple of events to bring to your attention as we close out the week. We are trading in front of an options expiration tomorrow as February rolls over to March after the market close on Friday. We've been seeing some modest buying interest in SPY puts in the expiring February monthly contract, as well as puts in the March 1st weekly contract. This is in addition to some bullish longer-term positioning that's been showing up in options on large-cap financial stocks that we mentioned in the midday. We've also got finance ministers from the Group of 20 convening in Moscow tomorrow and Saturday for discussions on competitive monetary policy. It's expected to dominate those talks. Let's take a look at what's on tap for next week's tape. Monday, February 18th, U.S. markets are closed in honor of President's Day, and there is a light bill of releases from Europe and Asia. Japan will release January machine tool orders, while the Eurozone will release its December current account, along with the February ZEW survey of expected economic growth. That's a widely watched sentiment barometer. On Tuesday, we've got December leading and coincident indices released from Japan, along with department store sales numbers. And Canada will release international securities transaction and wholesale activities readings for the month of December. Here in the U.S., we've got the February NAHB Housing Market Index for February, and earnings in store from Medtronic, Sealed Air, Marriott, and Terex. On Wednesday, February 20th, the Conference Board will release China's leading economic index for the month of January. Germany will release January producer and consumer price data and a slew of regional CPIs for the month of January. We've also got minutes from the most recent Bank of England meeting, along with UK January jobless claims and some wage data for December. US data kicks off with MBA mortgage applications, January housing starts and building permits, PPI, and minutes from the Fed's most recent meeting. Earnings are due out from MGM, Toll Brothers, Devon Energy, Owens Corning, Questar, and Tesla Motors. On Thursday, we've got January property prices due out of China, some public sector economic data from the UK, and a heavy dose of US data points. January CPI, weekly jobless claims, February PMI, January existing home sales, and Philly Fed manufacturing. A note on that Philly Fed number: we are coming off of a harsh read of negative 5.8 for January. Consensus is looking for positive 1.5 this time around. We'll see how it comes in. Another 33 companies are reporting next Thursday, including Host Hotels, Walmart, Safeway, AIG, Hewlett-Packard, Newmont Mining, and Nordstrom. And closing out the week, next Friday, we'll kick things off with some data points out of Germany, including their February IFO Business Climate Survey, which includes both a current assessment and a forecast. January CPI and retail sales are due out of Italy and Canada, and we've got earnings out from Interpublic Group of Companies, Abercrombie & Fitch, and Dynegy Energy. We'll be following all of the action from the best spot on the trading floor, that's right under the Bell podium. Until next week, I'm Rebecca Darst for the MacDesk Flow Report.